It's a new beauty day. Ignore the washing machine. Ignore the laundry behind me. We're doing the best we can here today, but I have so much new beauty to show you today, and it's really focused on lips. Sure, we're going to dig back into the YSL Nude Hours palette, which is now readily available, but I've already done a dedicated video on this. But we have lots of new products today. Most of them are lips. I've got a couple of blushes to show you. So let's see. We have the new Prada Touch blushes. I have two shades to show you today. Tulip and Dahlia. The clickable interlocking blushes. And then I have some new liners. I have the new YSL Love Nude Kiss Shapers. I've got two shades of that, and I have three shades of the new Chanel liners. So that's nice. And then let's see, as far as lips are concerned, well, I have three shades of the new Pat McGrath Lift, Sculpt, and Shade Contour Duos, which are a liner on one side and a lipstick on the other. I have two shades of the new, what are they called? Lip blushers from YSL. And then I have one of the new Velvet and one of the new Satin of the Chanel Coco Rouge. So we have a lot of products to get to today. If that sounds good to you, then please consider liking, subscribing, following along, shopping my links, and because it really helps the channel, and letting others know who might like this kind of content. So I'm going to grab my base products and then we're going to get started. Okay, I'll see you back in a minute. So I don't really have a new foundation to show you today, so I'm just going to go back on foundation and concealers to one of my all-time favorites, which is the Chantecaille Future Skin foundation and concealer, as well as the Chantecaille, what do they call this? The Sheer Glow tints. So we're going to use those for the base because I don't have a new foundation to show you. So I'm going to start with my Chantecaille Sheer Base, and this is the Sheer Glow tint, and this is in the gold color. They have three colors. They have a rose gold, a gold, and a bronze. All of them are really nice. I like the gold and the rose one best. Although the bronze one is nice in the summer, but they just provide such a beautiful base, you know, and you can wear them without foundation on them, and they just give you the most beautiful, healthy glow. So let's grab a brush and put on our base. And for that, like I said, I'm going to grab Chantecaille. So let's go ahead and start with the Chantecaille Future Skin. And I have mine in the shade Macadamia. If you've never tried this foundation, it really is beautiful. Wait for it to go on sale because Chantecaille is very expensive, but they do have really good sales on their website, 30-35% off. I find this to be a beautiful foundation. It's glowy, but it's not overly glowy. It's more of a natural finish. A light to medium coverage. It builds up really nicely. But it has a really nice cooling effect on it. So it's particularly nice in the spring and summer because it has this beautiful kind of cooling effect. What do we have here? It's an ingrown hair. Lovely. Okay. And it really is that quick and easy. I'm not going to put more, but I mean, I could certainly build it up. But we're here today to mainly look at lip products, so it doesn't have to be, you know, perfect full glam. So to start on my eyes, we're going to go into the YSL Nude Hours palette, which I did do a video about that if you want to look that up. But it's now readily available, Nordstrom, Sephora, Macy's, and it'll be part of the Sephora sale. I know it was sold out for quite a while, but it should be back in time for the sale. But it's just a beautiful nude palette. I used it over the weekend. It doesn't disappoint. So I'm going to start with my trusty Rare Beauty eyeshadow primer. Again, I'm trying to figure out if they're discontinuing this product. I hope not, because I don't see it at Sephora anymore. They may be changing the packaging, but I hope they're not discontinuing it, because it really is probably my favorite eyeshadow primer for everyday stuff. Okay, so I put that down. You know what? Let's quickly draw on a brow. Trusty old Benefit brow pencil. And I'm just going to do a quick little eyeshadow look today with this palette, because again, we're looking at lips and blush today. So if you want to see a more detailed review and more detailed looks, then please check out that dedicated palette review for Nude Hours. I think this is going to be one of the best selling things during the Sephora sale. Okay, so let me bring you in a little closer, and we're just going to do a really simple eye look today. Okay, so on my, where did I put it? I'm going to grab a YSL 2. And I'm just going to put this bottom, we're going to call it shade number 7, but this kind of taupey shade through the crease. It's a really beautiful shade. It's kind of very neutral, maybe even leaning a little bit cool. This palette's really nice because it has a lot of mattes, and there's kind of a row of cool mattes and a row of warm mattes. And they play really well with each other as well. I did a really high glam look with this over the weekend. Maybe I'll insert a picture. You can get really glamorous with this, but it would also be just a beautiful like day palette. Are some of the colors in it very similar to ones that are in the quads? Sure, that's gonna happen, but it's still beautiful. I'm going to grab number 8, which is this dark brown color, and just place it on the outer portion. The YSL formula is so buttery and easy to blend. It's almost foolproof. And as much as I bitch about certain brands putting out brown palette after brown palette after brown palette, YSL and Natasha Denona, you know, a good one like this one is really handy and spectacular. You know, you're going to get a beautiful look. Like I said, we're going to keep it really simple. I'm going to go in with shade number 6, which is this bronzy kind of topper shade, and place it on the outer third here. Well, really from the center over. It's just a really pretty shade. This palette has a metallic, a satin, 2 toppers, and 5 mattes. And I think as part of the Sephora sale, this would be a really good get. It'd also be a great gift because these colors are going to look good on anybody. And then I'm going to go in with the middle kind of toppery shade for the rest of the lid. This one has more of like a pink undertone. Just a little bit of pink in there. But both of these shades are really sparkly. And then like the other night, I really wanted to amp up, so I used my Pat McGrath setting, you know, or the Pat McGrath Intensify wand, and it really glammed it up. Okay, finally, I'm just going to grab a little of this cream color, which is a satin up at the top. It's the perfect inner corner color. And under the brow. I mean, you cannot go wrong with a palette like this because it's so easy. Kind of surprised they didn't come out with this during the holidays, but of course they came out with another version of this that had blushes and highlighters in it during the holidays. But it's so easy. I'm going to grab that same shadow brush and I'm going to remove the bulk of the color off of it. And then I'm going to go in and just blend it out a little bit, merge these colors together. It really is that easy. Look how simple that is. Okay, now I'm going to go in with the Chantecaille La Camouflage Stilo, and I have mine in the shade... What shade do I have? I think it's shade 2. Very strange, it doesn't say on here. Huh. It probably did, and I probably worn it off. But it's one of those like clicky YSL Victoria Beckham kind of concealers. Brightening. And I like it a good deal. I like the foundation even more, but don't sleep on this concealer either. And I tend to like to use the same concealer and foundation together. There's a few exceptions. Like for instance, I'm not a big fan of like the Gucci foundation products, but the Gucci concealer is one of my favorites. So I use that quite a bit, and I'll, you know, hodgepodge that with other brands. But for the most part, I tend to wear the foundation and concealer together. I think they're meant to work together like that. And you can see it's just kind of a light medium-ish coverage. Now I'm going to go in with a little bit of that taupey color that's down on the bottom, just under. Nothing crazy. I sound a little bit like Bob Ross. I haven't felt very good today. Been awfully tired. Okay. That is a simple, easy look. So I'm going to go ahead and put my Prada Wood liner in and mascara, and then I'll come back and we'll look at the new products, which is why you're here anyway. Bye. Okay, so I put my Prada mascara on, which they do have a new brown version of the Prada mascara. I really like the Prada mascara, and the liner in Wood. Completed eye look. I also put my Westman Atelier in Biscuit for contour, but I did not put any bronzer because I don't want to interfere with the colors we have here today of the new Prada Touch blushes. These are lip and cheek products, although I think they're more for the cheek. They are $40 a piece, which sounds very expensive, and it is expensive. You're not getting a ton of product. These are much smaller. I'm trying to think of how to show you how big they are. They're very small, and they have 3.5 grams in them. So for instance, a lot of blushes have 5 or 6 grams in them. These are a little cheaper than some of the others that are $50, $55. But again, you're getting 3.5, and the packaging itself is not particularly luxe, although it is really cool in the sense that they click together. So if you were to get all 8 shades, it would take up a lot less space. Plus, how often do you actually pan a blush? So I have 2 shades here. Tulip and Dahlia. This would definitely be something for the Sephora sale, because you know that would knock $8 off of them. So I have never felt a blush like these before. I love like the Chanel cream to powder blushes, but these are very different. These feel almost like a mousse or like a pudding. They're whipped. It's a very interesting texture. They're much wetter than like the Chanel cream to powder. They almost feel like a lipstick, but when they dry down to a beautiful powder. So this is Dahlia, and I'll show you on my hand what that looks like. But you can see they're very emollient. I don't have anything quite like that in my collection. The other color I have is Touch, and it's more of a vibrant shade, kind of a coral, but it's that extremely wet, creamy feel. And I'll show you it next to the other one. And it comparatively is much brighter and bolder. But once they dry down, and they do dry down beautifully, they create like this watercolor effect, and they dry down to a powder. It's a really, really interesting texture. And I think if you waited for like the Sephora sale, you'd be pleased, because then you're getting them for like $30 each. And that's a much better deal because they are small. You're going to be surprised if you haven't already tried these when you pick them up or when you get them in the mail, because they're much smaller than you would think. I mean, I just don't know that this is going to do it justice, but it's very small. Here's a Natasha Denona single of Blackest Black, and it's about the same size. In fact, this is 4 grams. So a single shadow, that's 4 grams. This is actually less. However, one could argue that the formula being creamy, you're going to need less, and it is very pigmented. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that shade Dahlia, and we're going to try that on today. And I found these to be incredibly easy to use. Now, you can use a brush, you can use your finger. I know in the commercials, they keep showing Bella Hadid just taking some on her finger and placing it. And I found that you certainly can do that, and it's really easy to do. They're really user-friendly. And I normally use a brush, but I'm just going to show you. Look at that. I mean, really easy to use and beautiful, almost foolproof. The texture is really interesting. It doesn't lift any product up from underneath it. And then if I wanted to build it up a little more, I could do that. And they're so slippy and beautifully emollient that you really don't need a brush. Well, certainly you could use one, and I probably would, but I'm just showing you today. I did try them on my lips, and I found them to be a little drying on the lips, so they certainly could work for your lips, but I would stick to using them as a blush. So I'll probably pick up more colors of it. I really, really liked it. Prada Beauty in general always seems to win with me. Finally, I'm just going to grab a little bit of the Dior Forever Glow Maximizer, and this is in gold, just to have a little bit of highlight. We'll put that on. That'll go well with the eye look. I can blend out the edges, but you really don't have to worry about blending out the edges of that blush. It's so beautifully emollient, but it has this watercolor effect, and when it dries down, it really does dry to a beautiful powder. So that looks really, really good. So, where to begin with the new lip products? Well, let's clear this off the deck. Let's clear the decks, as Ina Garten would say, and look at what we have. So I have some new products today to show you. First, I'm going to go in with Pat McGrath. Now, these have been teased on her website really since the holidays. You started to see them being used at runway shows. And I think there's about 10 or 12 combinations total. I picked up 3. But they are essentially a liner on one side that's a little darker, and then a lipstick on the other side. Very smooth, very creamy, and the liners don't move. So once they set, they're really, really lovely. I picked up 3 colors today, or I have 3 colors to show you. So the first one I have is called Naked Blush, and the way these work is that, like I said, on one side you have a lipstick. It's similar in texture, maybe a little creamier to like the Pat McGrath crayons, those lipsticks that I do like. And then on the other side it has a slightly deeper liner. So this again is Naked, what's it called? Naked Blush. So let me show you on my hand. This is the liner. Really beautiful nudie color. And then this is the lipstick. So that's a really beautiful neutral kind of color. It's not the lightest nude they offer. They have quite a variety, all the way to like black and dark, dark purple. But it's a really beautiful combination. The second one I have is Divine Rose, which is, you know, a signature for Pat McGrath. And on the one side, it has the liner, which is kind of a deep purpley color. It's a little bit deeper than the one I just showed you, but not a ton deeper. You can see it's just a little bit deeper, maybe a little cooler. And then the lipstick is that Divine Rose color that is so popular. And you can see it's just a little bit rosier and a little deeper than the Naked one. And then the final one I have to show you is Ellison Extreme, which I wanted to just get a fun one. This one is probably not one that I would wear a ton, but I just wanted to show a fun color. So this one, there's an Ellison that is her signature red, her blue base red. And then there's Ellison Extreme, which has a dark liner, and it's almost black. It's a dark, dark purple. You can see there. And then the lip part is the traditional Ellison, which is one of her signature, that blue-red color. Now, there is a regular Ellison that has a red liner, but this one's just kind of very cool and different. So I think what I'll do today is just show you this, and I'm going to show you on Ellison Extreme, because I think that it will really show you how the product works. And I will do this for you here too. You see these liners, they don't move, and the other night I had to really go in and wash to get it off. So I think if you want something that's really runway, you know, proven, because these are supposed to be runway products, then I think you'd really like these. So let's bring you in a little closer and let's look at the lip. Okay, I can bring you down a little bit. There we go. So I'm going to line with this Ellison Extreme, which is a dark, deep purple. It has a beautiful, precise point. So many new lip products coming. Celine has their new lip balms, and Gucci has a new lip stain. I'm really excited, but it is interesting how lips have really become the thing right now. So I'm just going to smudge this up a little bit. You certainly could use a brush. But I'm just going to use my finger. And then I'm going to go in with the other side, which is the lipstick side, and this is the one that has the traditional Ellison in it. And this is available in the crayon form. It's also available as a satin. It may even be, I think it's available as a matte. One of her traditional liners. This is a signature color for her. But in this format, it's very creamy, but it doesn't move. And look how pigmented it is. And from trying it the other night, I did notice these are extremely long lasting. After about an hour or so, I did want like a gloss over it, but the gloss didn't disrupt it, and it was really beautiful. So you can see there, it's just really pigmented, really beautiful. You could really go in with a brush and ombre that effect, but I really like it. So these are the Pat McGrath Lip Shape and Sculpt Contour Duos, and I have 3 of the 10 or 12 shades. Again, this is Nude Blush, Divine Rose, and the Ellison Extreme, the one that has the dark liner. But you can see how beautiful that looks. Okay, I'm going to take this off, and we're going to look at our next set of lip products. Okay, so the next lip products I have are from YSL. And I really love YSL lip products. One thing I've never tried from them is their liners. And I know that they've rebranded. They have some of their popular colors, and they have their new liners, which they've rebranded as the YSL Love Nude Kiss Shapers Sculpting Lip Liners. And I have two shades for you today. I think there's about 14 of these too. I have 104, which is this beautiful kind of warmer rust color. Very pretty. Reminds me a little bit of Victoria Beckham's number 2. And then I have number 44, which is Nude Lavalier, which is their signature kind of light pink. And so those are the two liners I picked, but they have a wide variety of those as well. And then they released a new lipstick formula. They've got their mattes, they've got their lip balms, their lip glosses, they've got their love shines. They have so many beautiful lip products, but these are really unique. These are the new, what are they called? The Love Nude Lip Blusher. So they're a matte lip blush that has kind of that worn in look. Really, really interesting and beautiful. They're not intimidating or extremely pigmented, but they are matte, and they give you, it's almost like a matte balm, but with a good amount of pigment, similar to like similar to like the Louis Vuitton ones, although those are more balmy. These are kind of a cross between a lipstick and a balm. And I have two shades to show you. I have number 8, which is kind of a dusty rose shade. Would go really beautiful with that first liner. And then I have their signature, of course, which is number 44, Nude Lavalier. And they have this pretty much in every format. And I will say one thing that's really interesting about these is once they dry down, they sort of almost look like a powder on the lip, but not in a dry way, but like in kind of a lived-in, really beautiful watercolor kind of way. It's hard to describe, but I guess what we can do now is kind of look. And what I'm going to do, even though obviously these two would go well together and these two would go well together, I'm actually going to use the darker and the lighter just so you can see the difference between the product. So I'm going to bring you in a little bit more. And let's see. So the first one I have is that lip liner in 104. And I'm going to go ahead and place this. These are very creamy, but you can tell they're long lasting. When I tried them the other night, they worked really beautifully. You can hear my washer and dryer going. You certainly could go in and blend these out more, but I don't think it's necessary. I think you're going to get that beautiful kind of ombre effect. Now, normally I would go in with number 8. I think that would look really beautiful, but what I'm going to do is go in with 44 just to show you the contrast. So this is the Nude Lavalier. They do feel like a nice balm. They do feel a lot like the Louis Vuitton ones. And they just give you that really pretty like wash of color. They're really interesting formula. And if you overline a little bit, it doesn't look so perfect. So I really like these. They're very unique. I don't have anything quite like them in my collection. I'm going to bring you out a little bit. And you can see the effect it gives. Just really pretty. And they're very smoothing, and they are blurring. So I quite like them. So that is the new product from YSL. Lastly, we have new lip products from Chanel. So I will be back with those in just a second. We're back with new products from Chanel. So I had never tried a Chanel lip liner either, but they have released a new series of 10 to 14 of their beautiful new Le Crayon Lavers Longwear Lip Pencil. I picked up 3 of them, and I really like these because they have the lip liner on one side, really beautiful formula, and on the other side they have a small brush for blending. So I picked up 3 colors of these. The first one is number 212 Beige Rose, which I know was sold out for a long time on some of the retailers, but it was available on the Chanel website. And this is just a beautiful nudie beige. The second one I have is number 164 Pivone, Pivone, and it's kind of a deeper, rosier version, maybe a little bit more purple in it. You can see it has more purple in it, it's cooler. Although this one's pretty neutral. The final one I picked up is the Rouge Cerise 178, and it is their bold red. And I saw this one paired with the dual-ended lip liner or lipstick lip gloss. I love that formula so much, where it has the lip gloss on one side and the liquid lip on the other. In the Daring Red, this matches beautifully with it. I saw Jessie Buckley wore that combination to the Oscars, and I really thought it looked beautiful. So this is the Rose Cerise, and it's just a perfect red. And then they released a bunch of new lipsticks. They have their new Coco Rouge Allure Velvets and their new Rouge Coco Satins. So I picked up one of each. I picked up the Velvet in number 63, which is shade Essentiel. It has the beautiful top on it that pops out. And this is in Essential. Which is a really pretty, kind of almost rosewoody color. Really nice. A beautiful matte format. Some Chanel mattes I find to be a little bit drying. This one I did not find to be that way. And then the new Rouge Coco, and this is in 102 Flying Cloud, which I know has become really popular online, but it should be back in stock. And it's because it's a purpley beige. These take more building up. They're a little bit more transparent, but look at that beautiful color. Really unique. So I think what I'll do for the final look today is the Flying Cloud with the second liner, which I showed you, 164 Pivone. And that'll give us like a really cool tone brown, purpley kind of look to go with this eye. Okay, let me bring you in. My lips are not going to like me. Okay, the one thing I really did like about these is they're long lasting and creamy, but they also have the little brush, which I think is really handy. So let's go in with 164. This is the purpley mauve shade. I hear a washer almost done. You can ignore all that laundry behind me on the bed, because today is laundry day. I overlined a little bit there. Now I can go in with that little brush, and it's soft, but it's stiff enough to really blend. And I'm really blending here because my lips are pretty dry now after trying all these on. But I was just, you know, smudging it up just a little bit. So let's go in with number 102, Flying Cloud. Really unique color. I don't think I have anything quite like that. It really is like a beige, but you can see it's got purple in there. Really interesting. Really comfortable. Okay, now I'm going to pull you out. No, out. Okay, so we got through a lot today. The new Prada blushes, at least a couple of them, as well as new lip products from Pat McGrath, Chanel, and YSL. I really like this combination with the eyeshadow palette, the new YSL Nude Hours palette. If you enjoy this kind of content, then I really, really would appreciate if you like, subscribe, follow along, shop my links, and share me with others who might like this kind of content. Okay, I'm off to do more laundry. Lots of folding. I'll talk to you all later. I appreciate you so much. Bye, everyone.